Ooh, it's that time. It's that time to say hello to everybody. So hello to everybody watching. How is your day going? We had a little dump of snow last night and we're supposed to have more tonight. But right now it's beautiful sunshine, so I am totally happy about that, which is awesome. If you are joining today, make sure you just say a quick hello, because I don't always get to know I can't see if people are actually watching or not. So, all right, here we go. Now you can see my face. I just had to finish something up quick, so I thought I would do that before I actually let you see my face. So hello, Pam. How are you doing? Oh, what do I have there that is blocking? There we go. That's better. Hello, Dagny. Yes, so how are you ladies doing today? I'm just zooming in here and getting my work surface ready to go. Hello, Lori. How are you? I am I have done it a little bit already last week, but working on some of the games and some of the prizes for the retreat. And I think I have all the stuff in for the goodie bags now. So I am excited for that. And then I've also got probably almost everything in for the first Maker's box. So I'm excited about that. Next week, I'll maybe give you a little preview of a couple things that'll be in the Maker box, just to give you a little bit of an idea. And then I'm also in the process, of course, throughout the year, collecting for the Advent calendar. So it's busy. And of course, I'm good at ordering the stuff. I'm not so good at getting it into the system and getting it online. So I have about 5 boxes probably of items that I have to get entered in, and I just really need to sit and do it and stop, being a big baby about it. But that's not the fun part for me, right? The fun part's opening the box and looking through it, and then after that I'm good. But I know you guys probably all would like to see everything as well, so I need to get on that. So I keep saying I'm gonna do it, and I did. I actually last week, I think I got a couple orders in, and I got some special order stuff in and delivered. So I'm getting there slowly. Yes, I feel like I'm always busy. So just sometimes other things take priority over the store stuff, which of course I guess was to be expected when I moved home, right? But that's okay. It'll all come together. So I've got some different little things planned for the retreat this year. I'm hoping to have some demo stations, or some maybe like try it yourself kind of things. So I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to actually do little videos on how to do the projects. Not really a project, just sort of learn the technique. Or try product, I guess, or if I'm just going to write out the instructions and then you can, do those on your own. But I'm hoping that if I just sort of do some demo stations, that, maybe that'll, I know that, I'm the same way. You want to try the product, you want to test it out, you want to see how it works. And so I've put a few ideas down. If there's something that anybody wants to, you've seen out and you just have no idea about it, let me know. It might be something I can include in the demo area, and we can look into that. I have quite a few ideas already, but I'm always open to whatever you may want, because that's important to me. There was something else. Oh, and then at the retreat also, I don't know if you remembered, quite a while ago, I showed Sam had put together a recipe album. It's just a little black one, and it's using the Picked Fresh from Photoplay. So we're actually going to have that class at the retreat, because we just haven't had a chance to do it prior to that. And then I had a while ago, probably quite a while ago, I had put together, it was a Graphic 49 album. The one I did was an ivory base, and I used, the name of that paper pack's eluded me now. It was from Craft O'Clock. Anyway, it was like blue. Oh, what was it called? Anyway, it was like some blue tones. It was very vintage looking, and I put that Graphic 45 album together. It was a chipboard, thicker chipboard folio type, and you could add your pieces in. And I ordered the Essentials line from Simply Stories, which is just a vintage paper pack that they had released last year. I ordered all the pieces for that to coordinate. And so I'm going to also do that class at the retreat, just because it's ready, and why not, right? You think that's good? Awesome. Yeah, I think demo stations, you know, that, and then teaching the classes last year at the retreat and then doing everything else was just a lot. And so I thought if I could put demo stations together, and then everybody could kind of, you know, like I would have maybe a few set out, and you would have sort of an hour or 2 hours to kind of go and try them out. And then once you know, after a few hours, once people have had the time, then I would switch out the demos and you'd have some opportunities. And then to go along with that, you know, I'm hoping to put maybe some product bundles together so that if you try it and you like it, you know, you get like a retreat special. So I'm hoping for that. And then I'm also redoing some games a little bit, and I'm redoing the prizes a little bit. So I think it'll be really, really good. I have 9. There's 9 registered for the retreat already. So I'm super excited about that. If you have friends or family or people you know that would love to come, get them registering, because, you know, I know that in another month or two, once it gets a little closer, seats are going to start flying. So I want to make sure that everybody gets that chance. Hello, Laura. Laura, nice of you to join. Okay, so let's switch preview here, and let's get to, you know, I always do this wrong. There we go. And let's get to this demo. And Pam, or for people who aren't able to maybe attend the retreat, I'm gonna open the classes for sure up to anybody. Anybody can register. It's just that at the retreat, it's an easier way for me to have the space to do it, right? So don't think it'll be exclusive for retreat attendees, because it won't. Okay, so the first thing for everybody watching, I think for the most part you watched last week, but this is going to be a continuation. So last week what we did was we used Distress ink, and we blended it on cardstock, regular cardstock. You can tell it's all warpy here. And then we used water on a stamp to do a resist. So that was this one. And then this one was water through a stencil. And we did kind of a bit of a resist. So today I wanted to kind of continue on with that. And I want to do some oxides to see how they will work. And then also some Catherine Pooler inks just to see how that would work. So I don't think I'm going to do Faded Jeans. I think I might do those ones instead. So I'm going to go ahead and start just blending on here and getting our ink on the paper. Now, of course, as per usual, I'm sure if you used watercolor paper, you won't get that crinkling, right? But for demo purposes, watercolor paper is not as cheap as just regular cardstock, right? So I want to, for demo purposes, I'm just using regular 65-pound cardstock. This is nothing special. It's just any kind of regular cardstock that you would have in your stash. So just so that you're kind of aware. I don't know why I always do stripes when I'm blending for these projects. I don't know why I always do that. I guess that's just a habit. I really like this one, Broken China. I'm surprised. In the oxide, it has a bit of a green tone to it. Broken China. And let's go to Salty Ocean. Let's actually do Stormy Sky first, and then we'll do Salty Ocean at the end. Oof. Okay, different blending brush. I think that one's too stiff. Okay, maybe we're not doing Stormy Sky. That one definitely needs to be re-inked. So I guess we're going to go back to Faded Jeans. Wow. There we go. We were having problems with that last time, right? Being able to get enough ink on there. Now, of course, I'm doing this very, what's the word? Deliberate, because I want you guys to be able to see it on the camera, right? So just remember that I'm not doing the best job in the world here. I'm just trying to get color down so that we can see how it's going to work. Move that out of the way. Okay, I'm doing Salty Ocean. Let's try that with this one. This one's nice and juicy still. Turn this so that I can, this will be a nice blue wave, right? All right. So I feel like I want to maybe try the stencil with this one, because I feel like the stencil will do quite a good job. And I'm going to use this stencil this time. Just want to clean off my work area there before we continue on. All right, so last time when I was doing this, I started out by just putting some water on a piece of paper towel and dabbing it on there. We'll try that again to start, but I have a feeling I'm going to have to do a direct spritz just like I did last time, but we'll give it a try. The third color I used, so I used Broken China, Faded Jeans, and Salty Ocean. Broken China, Faded Jeans, Salty Ocean. That nice bright blue. So I'm just taking my spritz bottle and I'm just wetting some paper towel down. And we're going to see, because this is oxide, I'm thinking that you might get a better reaction than just with the distress. But I'm still thinking we may have to just direct spray to get the true effect. However, remember too, what we said is that, oh, my stencil moved a tiny bit. Oh, ow, I got my finger caught there. What we said last time too was that the colors seem to develop more or less, depending on how you want to look at it, after it dried some. So the result wasn't as noticeable when we first were dabbing it off. I'm gonna, oh, see, the stencil is already lifting, but I'm gonna try direct and just see. I think if you were gonna do this technique with direct spray, you would definitely want to use pixie spray on your stencil, because then that way it's held down all around. It's not going to allow for the water to get under the stencil, right? So I'm just dabbing it, trying to remove the ink that I can. A very, very damp sponge I think would work. Or, yeah, just a damp sponge, not, you know, barely wet. And I think that would absolutely work. And that is a good point. Usually I have like a mini blender over here that I could try, but I don't. So, but that would probably work. Even spraying direct and then, you know, maybe even using like a microfiber or something a little bit more absorbent might work. So let's just see. Oh, so it did leak a little bit, but I'm sure you can see that quite well. So it was my issue that the stencil moved a little bit in the middle. You see it's a little muffled, but otherwise, let's do the comparison. This was the stencil from last week. And this is the stencil. So this is Distress ink, and this is oxide. Put them up a little bit closer so you can see. So this one's still wet, and as it dries, I'm sure it'll show even more. And this is dried from last week. So I feel like this one definitely was easier to pull the ink. This one was a little bit more challenging last week to pull the ink, and I did direct spray to the stencil as well with this one and pulled it the exact same way. But I found it took a lot more work and it took a little bit longer. This one, I feel like, even though I was playing around a little bit, I definitely feel like this with the oxide was a lot easier to get that resist technique and to pull the ink off. And I mean, partly it's because that's what it's meant. The oxide's meant to react with water, right? But that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool. I didn't use a wet wipe purely because, well, I'm unsure, I guess, sometimes how wet wipes will react with the ink and stuff. And so just for this juncture, I didn't. Not to say you can't. Sorry, I'm just cleaning my blending brushes here a bit because I don't know if I have enough blenders for the Catherine Pooler inks. So I'm just trying to clean off my blending brushes. And by that, what I mean is I'm just taking my old cloth and I'm just rubbing them on there. They'll be a bit stained, but it's clean enough that I can now go in with a different color. I get these cloths, just get them cheap at like the dollar store or somewhere, and I just wash them after they're, you know, to the point where there's no more clean spots on them. And yep, they get stained, but I would rather do this than use a whole bunch of paper towel or something to that effect. All right, so next we're going to do the Catherine Pooler inks. Because these are, again, dye ink, and so I just wanted to see, because I do know that these blend so much better than the Tim Holtz Distress, like just the regular dye inks, that I wanted to see if, because I felt like it was a little bit of a challenge last week, I wanted to see if just these inks being more vibrant would make a difference. So that's why I decided to do this. And I think also whenever we're seeing these techniques, I mean, maybe I shouldn't say we, I should just speak for me because I don't know how it is for everybody else, but I know when I watch YouTube videos or you're seeing techniques, a lot of times you just assume distress, right? And I think it's important to note that distress is a dye ink like any other ink, right? Okay, I think I got my brushes here clean enough. So let's start with the blending. Maybe should we try a different design instead of just the stripes? Okay, so we've got Coral Cabana, which is this one. Yep. And then we've got Polished. I'm going to do, let's try doing a little bit of a swirl, hey? Maybe building out like a rising sun. Oh, I feel like I'm reaching really far. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to put a gray next to it, and then I'll finish off the outside with Polished. I just want to get it fairly nice even coats where it can be blended. So it looks a little bit choppy around the outside, but I'll blend that over with the gray and get it. What brush is this? This is my Picket Fence brush, one of the blenders I got right at the beginning. I think it is. I should probably label them. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's one of the Paper Rose ones. But it's not the best. I don't like these black-handled ones as much. These new Prism Studio ones I have, so much better. I love them. Okay, I think we're going to go with Slate. Here's my water bottle. I think we're going to go with Slate as the color to go along with these. Okay. Now watch, these brushes will be so much better. I'm just doing a messy blend here. Just because I get tired of doing them stripes all the time. It would make it, for blending, do you mean would it make a difference, Lori? Or do you mean for lifting? I cannot answer that question. I don't use watercolor paper very often. I mean, I don't really mind if it's wrinkled or whatever. This is looking really crappy. But we're going to continue and go with it, okay? We're going to just go with it. That's okay. It'll all work out. Gray was maybe not the best choice of blending colors, but we're gonna, like I said, we'll just go with it and see what happens here. Just gonna blend over top of it to try to blend out the edges a bit. By far, this ink, Catherine Pooler, blends so much better than the Distress inks do. All right, this looks a little bit hideous. Oh gosh, that's okay. All right. So now I am going to use, I was going to use this, but honestly, I don't know if I want to now. I think I might use this stamp to do our water impression with. So let me just clean up my spot again. Okay. So I don't know, somebody else maybe that uses more watercolor paper could answer that. I know watercolor paper is meant to hold more moisture, and that is why it doesn't warp like regular. Whether that means it would release the ink the same or differently, I am not sure. I could have, I guess, cut one piece and we could have tried it. But that's a very good question, because I never really think about that. I always just think that it's, you know, it's meant to retain more water and therefore it doesn't warp. But the other characteristics of it, I don't really tend to think about, to be honest. So maybe that's one thing I need to do. Okay, so with the stamps, we're just going to spritz. And last week I had a word stamp and I put way too much water on it. However, the print was thicker, where this is more of a line stamp. So I think that is determinant of how much water you put on. If you have more like words or thicker images where there's more surface area to the stamp, you probably want less water, because the water is going to sit there easier. With line stamps, when you're spraying, you don't know if you're getting the lines, right? So, all right, I'm just going to move that so that I can dry this, because I don't want to turn my paper over and it be on this wet area. All right, so then all I did was I took my cloth, my paper towel. Sorry, I just lost my thought process there. Now this actually turned out really well. I'm surprised. The background's a little bit hideous, but I mean, look at with the flower in the middle, it kind of isn't as bad. All right, so here is the Distress inks that we did with the stamp the exact same way last week. And this was a little bit thicker stamp, right? It had more surface area. So I honestly, looking back, I would say I just sprayed this stamp today the same amount I sprayed last week. So you can see in the blue, it didn't really resist a lot. And even in the purple, like, I mean, just kind of right up there is a little bit thin. And here you can just sort of barely see it. Now, whether it's the color or what it is, I can't be commenting on that, because who knows if it was just that blue that we used or what. But now here's this one. I feel like this worked a lot better. It's clearer, it's crisper, and as it dries a little bit more, it will come out even more. It's okay if it's not beautiful. It looks way better now that I have these flowers on it, these daisies. you know, and it's just nice to have the difference from the stripes all the time, right? So Oxide ink is a yay in my book for sure for doing this technique. And Catherine Pooler inks, or inks that are more vibrant, are a yay. But I mean, how easy is that? I mean, maybe you want to pay attention a little bit more to your blending, but really super cute, quick background with just inks and water and a stamp. So I'm actually quite impressed at how this one turned out. So this is the one we did last week with the vintage looking, and this is the one I was saying about the word stamp. I oversprayed it, and so you can actually really read the words. But if you still took this, and I just think I have my one album in my book here alongside of me somewhere here. What time is it? Okay, I'm almost right here, I think. Is this the one? Nope, that's not the one. I'm just looking for my little book that I worked in last week, or a couple weeks ago when I did the... What was I showing you that week? I had rub-ons and I had, oh, it's got to be in here. Is that it? Oh yes, this is it. Okay. Right, I did stenciling in this one. Okay, so remember I did this page? So if you took something like this and you're going to do it, you know, in this book, you're going to probably be layering and doing other things. You know, you could rip part of this. You could put washi tape across it. And I think the fact that it didn't turn up clearly to where you could maybe read the words, you know, when you're adding it to your page or in your book, it may not necessarily matter, right? But, you know, even something like this, it's going to look great as a little background piece in your page, right? You can rip it, you can do all kinds of different things with it, and it would just blend in there so lovely. You know, and just think, like how I have this background piece in here, I mean, you could make that, and then you could stencil over it. You could apply texture paste. You know, it's definitely, you could do a bunch of these. It would be something great for you to just kind of sit and do and make a bunch, and then as you're doing your art journals or your mixed media albums or your scrapbooks or your cards, you know, you could have a bunch of these with different color backgrounds on them that you can just have ready to grab and go. So I'll complete this page and then I will show you, you know, how you can go ahead and maybe use these ones to add as a background. So what's everybody else's thoughts on this water resist technique? Do you kind of agree with my results? So stencil, stencil, stamp, stamp, and this was a stamp as well with the Distress ink. Oxide, Distress, Distress, Catherine Pooler. Hello, Sharon. Yes, it's good that you made it on. Absolutely. You'll have to go back and rewatch it from the beginning because this is a pretty interesting technique, and I know oxides are my favorite too. Honestly, I hardly use the Distress anymore for lots of different things. I think there maybe does come a time and place, but honestly, I do tend to navigate to the oxides. And I've told many people that. You know, I was big on the Distress when they first came out, and then when the oxides came out, I was like, well, you know, really, are they that much different? But since using them and knowing how they blend so much better, the reactions that they give to the water and the differences that they show from the water reactions is amazing. However, I am now really getting to like the Catherine Pooler. To me, their blendability, their intense pigment concentration, or like the color, I guess I shouldn't say it's pigment because it's not pigment, but the color saturation is really amazing. And so if I was going to be doing any blending, stenciling with the inks, I would probably navigate to these. I mean, look at even I know this one's not pretty, but even look here where I did the blending, like between the pink and the gray, like you see how that nice line just sort of blended? And I mean, look at these. It's almost impossible to get that blend to be that nice. And I hardly spent any time on that, right? So anyway, that's just my 2 cents. So, yeah. I know, you're right, Pam, absolutely. They all work. And I mean, it's like everything else. Everybody has their favorites, right? Everybody has one they gravitate to, absolutely. And I'm not dissing Distress inks at all. They definitely have their purpose. And, you know, obviously I still use them because when I went to do this demo, that was the first ones I gravitated towards, right? So you're absolutely right. They all have a time and a place, just like every other product in the crafting industry, right? So, yeah. Well, thank you for joining for the demo today. I had fun doing this technique. I think it's a very cool, interesting technique. I would really like to, if any of you try it and use it on projects, please share it with me. I would love to see it further. Like, I would like to see it added to a project, or I'd like to see, you know, how you've done it and how you've layered it and how, you know, so make sure if you do try it that you share it with me, because I would really like to see. I know that it's like anything else. This is the technique, and this is, you know, basically my first time playing with it, or technically my second, right? But it's like anything else. The more you do it and you think, oh, well, let's try it like this, or let's try it like this, or let's try overlapping it like this, or let's try this or this or this, you know, it just, who knows where it could go, right? So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I think this one sort of speaks to me because I really like the flower pattern and the way that it turned out, just so nice and even. I think that that's why I kind of gear towards that one. It'd been nice if my blending was nicer, but that's okay, right? So thank you everybody for joining today. What's coming next week? Okay, I'll be back next week and the week after, which will be I don't know where my calendar is here. Let me just pull up my calendar quick. Calendar. I don't know where my calendar is. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, so next weekend's March 2nd. I'll be there for that. The 9th, I'll be there. And then the week after that, 2 weeks after that, the 16th and the 23rd, I will be in Mexico. So there will be no lives for a couple weeks in a row. And then back to March 30th. Unbelievable. The Maker's Box will be shipped out April 1st for anybody looking for that. And next week I will do maybe a little sort of a sneak peek just so that you can kind of see what that's going to entail. But otherwise, enjoy the sunshine for anybody who has sunshine. And thank you for joining. I hope you loved this technique.